I've been preparing for this service for 5 years, literally. And I'm so glad to finally get this done. Okay, and I guess I've got, okay. I've always been fascinated, if not overwhelmed, by the sheer immensity of the cosmos. When one considers the size of our planet, then the size of our solar system, as compared to the size of our galaxy and the entire universe beyond, to say it is humbling is an understatement. As Albert Einstein once said, the human mind is not capable of grasping the universe. We are like a little child entering a huge library. The child knows that someone must have written those books. It does not know who or how. Of course, now I'm not a scientist, although I believe I understand some basic scientific principles. I'm just a layperson trying to make sense of the universe and trying to resolve my spiritual beliefs with my very limited scientific knowledge. So today I'd like to share with you my somewhat small understanding of the universe and how it has impacted my personal beliefs. I know that there are some here that are probably much more knowledgeable about these things than I am. So I guess I'll be preaching to the choir somewhat, but please have patience with me. I guess the greatest revelation to me was when I learned that light travels through outer space at the speed of 186,000 miles a second. To put that in perspective, a beam of light could go around the Earth 7 times in 1 second. It's shocking to think that a beam of light can travel farther in 1 second than my old car has gone in 18 years. My laser pointer doesn't work, so I'll have to try to point things with my finger. The distances in outer space are so vast that scientists use the speed of light as a measurement between objects. The nearest planet to Earth is Venus, right here, which is about 160 million miles from Earth at its most distant point. It takes light coming from Venus 6 minutes to reach Earth. It takes light 44 minutes to travel from the planet Jupiter to Earth. And these are just some of our planetary neighbors. Beyond our neighborhood, the solar system, distances become unimaginably great and are measured in light years. A light year is the distance light travels in 1 year, which is 5.9 million miles. Now this grid here, this shows our sun, and that's our nearest neighbor, is the Alpha Centauri triple star system. Each one of these grids, squares, is a light year. Stars have a lot of empty space between them. For example, the closest star to us, beyond our solar system, is a small star called Proxima Centauri. It is 4.2 light years away from us, or almost 25 million miles. It's part of the Alpha Centauri triple star system. If you could put a marble on the ground to represent our sun, the 3 stars of Alpha Centauri would comprise 2 marbles and a ball bearing 250 miles away. Our own galaxy, the Milky Way, is a commonplace spiral galaxy of 300 billion or more stars, many of which are far bigger than our star, the Sun. We reside in a cozy region of the galaxy about 26,000 light years from the violent center of the galaxy. If you could stand or float on one edge of the Milky Way, see down here, and shine a light toward the center of the galaxy, that beam of light traveling at 186,000 miles a second would take 200,000 light years to reach the opposite edge of the Milky Way galaxy. That is according to the latest studies. And the Milky Way is only one of hundreds of billions of galaxies in the universe. Now here is a comparison of the sizes of some celestial bodies. Okay, that's the Earth, and that's Venus is almost the same size as the Earth, and Mars and Mercury and Pluto. Now here is Pluto and Mercury and Mars and Venus and Earth and Uranus and Neptune and Jupiter and Saturn to compare their sizes. You could put over 100 Earths just inside Jupiter. Jupiter's a giant ball of gas anyway. Here is our sun as compared to the sizes of the planets. The Earth is a little bitty dot. Jupiter is really small compared to the size of the sun. You can't even see Pluto at this scale. And then here are some other stars. That's our sun over there to the far left. And then the stars Sirius and Pollux and Arcturus, which are much bigger than the sun. Jupiter is about 1 pixel in size in this picture. Okay, and here is, how do you pronounce that? Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse? Yeah, Betelgeuse. And Antares, and Aldebaran and Rigel, Arcturus, Pollux. And here in this picture, the sun is only 1 pixel in size, and Jupiter is invisible. So that just gives you an idea of enormous scales. Okay. So what does all this have to do with religion? I believe that religion had its roots thousands of years ago in the intrinsic human need to explain the unexplainable. Be it nature, the weather, volcanoes, earthquakes, the movements of the stars, planets, the sun, and the moon, even the very nature of life itself, and the mystery of death. Religious mythologies have always served to quench the basic human thirst for answers. But we live in a unique era, an age when mythologies are being set aside to make way for scientific discoveries. Ever since Copernicus proved the planets revolved around the sun, and Galileo found moons revolving around other planets, religious beliefs have had to evolve with our steadily expanding scientific knowledge. The last 100 years has been especially noteworthy. Now we know that our planet is not unique. We are only one of countless planets in the galaxy. Now we have telescopes orbiting above the atmosphere that are so powerful they can literally see back in time, 13 billion years ago, not long after the Big Bang, to that dim, dark era when the first galaxies and stars were forming. This famous image here is the Hubble Deep Field, which was taken over 10 consecutive days. It's a picture of a small section of the night sky in the constellation Ursa Major, and is actually just 1/24 of the sky. Now, in this picture, they left the shutter open for a whole week, and you can literally see back in time 13 billion years ago. And you can tell how the early galaxies were starting to form, how some of them are sort of deformed and weird looking. And yeah, this is just one tiny section of the sky. And there is visible almost 3,000 galaxies. Only now do we know how tiny a speck our world is, floating in a universe without end. To say it is humbling is an understatement. Throughout recorded history, many religious beliefs have been predicated on the notion that our world is the center of the universe, that a loving God created us to be masters of the world, and as Mark Twain said, the deity sits up nights to admire us. Now we must deal with the realization that not only are we not the center of the universe, that we are an indescribably tiny part of it. How do we deal with that? For my own part, I believe that something somewhere created the universe. And in that process, natural laws took effect that eventually led to the evolution of life on Earth and then us. We are merely the end result of a process of stellar evolution that began with the Big Bang 13.7 billion years ago. That process continues on our planet, and who knows how many other worlds throughout the cosmos. The molecules and atoms that make up our bodies were actually formed billions of years ago in the atomic furnaces of stars and nebula. We are truly star stuff. As insignificant as this knowledge makes me feel, I can take some small comfort in this piece of sage wisdom that I gleaned from an old episode of Star Trek. Though the mathematics isn't exactly correct, I still love the philosophy. In this galaxy, there is a probability of 1 million Earth-like planets, and in all the universe, 1 million galaxies like ours. And in all of that, and maybe more, only one of each of us. Thank you.